economy, center stage in the race for president, and on the streets of New York. Today on The Debrief, lessons from Trump's victory in New Hampshire, the new bitter fight over migrants in the city, and why Mayor Adams may be turning the page.
This was a team effort.
This is The Debrief. Good morning, I'm David Ushery. From a podium in New Hampshire to a courtroom in Manhattan, Donald Trump dominated news cycles this week. He says the Republican primary is over, but Nikki Haley, who grabbed 43% of the vote, says not so fast. News 4's Andrew Siff spent 4 days in the Granite State chasing candidates and talking to voters, reporting on a race that's a lot more complex than many people may think. So, Andrew, we're glad to have you with us. We want to kind of buttonhole things that happened over the week. For viewers who didn't follow it as closely, you were standing in front of Ron DeSantis' van, his campaign van that said, never back down, on the day he backed down.
Right.
So what were your takeaways from this?
Well, there were, I counted 4 takeaways that I brought back. The first was we spoke with a lot of voters. I mean, first of all, turnout was near record. It actually set a record on the Republican side.
Right.
More than 300,000 people voted. We talked to as many of those folks as we could. First takeaway is not only the loyalty to voting for Donald Trump, but the methodology. We caught up with voters who were very, very thoughtful about their process. They went in, they would describe it as undecided, but they came out and they voted for Trump. Take a listen to one guy telling us why.
All right.
Was it a close call for you, or it was definitive all along?
No, very close call, yeah. Struggled right up to the point I walked in the door.
And then what put you over the line?
I think I understand Trump better than I understand Haley. I think it's just a matter of familiarity. I know what to expect, so.
What's the appeal at this point? You've seen him as president.
Yeah.
You've seen him indicted. So what is it that still makes you comfortable to vote for Trump after all this?
I think it's just reliability, conservative point of view. I know what to expect. I can see forward, looking forward, and see where he's headed. So,
Andrew, a game time decision relatively early in the primary season. What did that tell you?
What it told me is, even though so often when we describe Donald Trump, we talk about chaos, when it comes to his message to voters, they see clarity. They know where he stands. So as a result, even an undecided voter, after all this time with Donald Trump, can still find a reason to go in that direction. My second takeaway from talking to all these folks is how much of a motivator Trump is to the polls, not just for the Republican base, but for Democrats as well. This was an uncontested primary. It wasn't even a primary for the Democrats. Joe Biden wasn't on the ballot.
Right.
And yet 124,000 people came out to vote. Why was that? We spoke with a lot of Democrats. They felt like they needed to be heard. They felt like they needed to speak out against Donald Trump. There's a little-known Congressman, Dean Phillips, who was running, and he was hoping to get a huge percentage of the vote. He ended up with about 19 or 20%, which isn't bad. But the president had a huge write-in campaign, even though the Democratic Party said, New Hampshire, we're skipping you in this primary process. So something organic was happening there, but they still wanted the president to look as good as possible against Trump, knowing it's likely to be a long battle ahead. That also leads to another takeaway, which is this. You are told a lot about New Hampshire being unique because so many moderate voters, independent voters, unaffiliated voters. There are other states like that down the line, Michigan, Virginia, and others. Those voters are a huge part of this election going forward. 43% for Nikki Haley. So much of that came from moderate, unaffiliated, independent voters. That might be the key to the election this fall.
You talked to voters, issues with voters that you spoke with.
Issues that we heard the most talking to voters: immigration and the economy. On the economy, regardless of what's happened to prices, regardless of the fact that gas is now $3 a gallon across the country, relatively low compared to where it once was, people talk about the cost of living. Top of mind. And immigration, you hear it from voters of all stripes. Close the borders. What are we going to do about the borders? How are we going to solve this? It's right up at the top of the agenda, even though last time we checked, New Hampshire was not on the southern border and it was not getting the buses the way New York and other places.
All right. Well, we appreciate you bringing us as viewers close to the action there, and you'll be busy throughout the campaign trail. We'll see you back here on the Debrief soon enough.
Good to be here. Thanks, David.
And we heard it from Andrew. We heard it last week from Melissa Russo, who was in Iowa. Immigration, a top issue in the presidential race. And many voters paying attention to what's happening right here in New York. The escalating battle over time limits at city shelters is taking center stage. Migrants with children are now limited to a 60-day stay in temporary housing. Policy critics say leaves families scrambling for stability. The issue this week pitting Mayor Adams against City Council Speaker Adams.
I urge the mayor to abandon this counterproductive and cruel tactic and instead pursue more sound management that upholds our moral responsibility as a government.
Imagine if we had no policy at all. It's unbelievable that people think that New York City taxpayers can pick up this task forever without any type of policy in place. This was a smart policy of telling people, listen, you have to become self-sustaining.
Joining us now, Telemundo 47 reporter Yolanda Vasquez, who's been covering the migrant crisis. Yolanda, we're so glad to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Mayor Adams tried to take the temperature down with Speaker Adams during his State of the City, and we're actually going to talk about that in a moment. But the dueling press conferences, we wanted you to take us close to the migrants themselves because you've been covering them, talking to them. How is the policy so far affecting them? What are you hearing?
You know, it's like two things that they think about this policy. First is that they say that they're grateful that they are here, and the mayor let them just come with their families. In the other side, the only concern for them is like they don't want to move their kids from the schools. They say that they already cause a lot of pain to them, just bringing them to the new country and then moving them to another school. It was a lady from Venezuela with 4 kids, and she was traveling from Queens to Manhattan, from the Bronx to Manhattan,
to bring the kids back to the same school, right? So advocates have been saying this, that the disruption of going from borough to borough is tough on the children especially, and you've actually hearing from your reporting that that's happening.
Yes, they're suffering a lot, and so the parents, they don't want to make them suffer more.
A lot of people are empathetic, but you know, sometimes it's characterized as, well, the migrants, do they feel entitled to this? But you have been talking to them, and they really tell you, look, we want to work.
The majority of them, we can say all of them, but the majority of them are grateful that they are here. They said, we don't want to be maintained by the government. We just want to work. The problem is that they don't have the work permit, and they're not allowed to work. But it's not a secret that they're working anyway, that they're just trying to make their own money, but that is not enough for them to just take their families away from the shelters.
All right, well, we look forward to your coverage, Yolanda Vasquez, Telemundo 47. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
When we return, we'll take a closer look at Mayor Adams' State of the City speech as he passes the halfway mark of his first term in office. Very good.
We got all this done for New York City. And we did it while marshaling our entire city government to respond to the asylum-seeking humanitarian crisis. This was a team effort. And how we did it? We stayed focused, no distractions, and we grind. Stay focused, no distractions, and grind.
Mayor Eric Adams delivered his third State of the City speech this week, taking a noticeably upbeat tone even while addressing the biggest challenges facing our city. News 4 Government Affairs reporter Melissa Russo was in the room and now joins us with her takeaways of the mayor's speech. What did you think, Melissa?
Well, what do you think, David? Have you ever heard Mayor Eric Adams that jazzed to talk about the migrant crisis in New York City?
Not lately, no.
Not ever, really. But, you know, he's trying to present a different tone. It has not been a great few months for him for a lot of reasons. But first of all, talking about the migrants in the past tense, he's saying we took care of this, we did this. The migrant crisis is not in the rear view. We are very much still in the thick of it, right? But it's also not really worked very well for him. He's spent almost 2 years now advocating for help from the federal government that he never got. His job approval ratings plummeted, in large part because of the migrant crisis, because of the budget crisis that came in part because of the migrant crisis. And so, you know, he's been trying to turn that around.
And you've heard elements of a campaign speech in that, which, you know, the State of the City is political. The mayor's supposed to tout his successes, outline his challenges. But this, you know, he runs next year, New York being that off year kind of thing. You heard that.
We did, and I overheard someone saying that wasn't a State of the City speech, that was a pep rally. And he did take those slogans about staying focused and grind. Those are lines that he used in his 2021 race for mayor, and it is sort of signaling that he's going back into campaign mode. And that's not a surprise because there are already some Democratic challengers talking about the possibility of running a primary against him next year. So what he's trying to focus the city on is what's going well. His program,
Yeah.
State of the City.
Right.
Instead of just listing him as Mayor Eric Adams, it lists him as the blue-collar mayor who's getting stuff done.
Okay, so
and
that's how he's
That's
framed.
really his message.
And that's always been his framing of his narrative. We mentioned with Yolanda in the previous segment that he did kind of take the temperature down, or try to, with City Council Speaker. They had these dueling press engagements here over the migrant crisis. But realistically speaking, tell our viewers what we might expect with this relationship between the mayor and the city council.
Well, the way he tried to take the temperature down by saying, I love you and there's nothing you can do about it, it was a sweet moment, and she sort of mouthed, I love you too.
Right.
There is something the council could do about it, and that is override the mayor's veto. And what's really at stake here, right? It's a question about how much documentation and public disclosure does the NYPD have to do about the low-level encounters that they have with everyday New Yorkers on the street.
And shorthanded transparency, police transparency.
Transparency, yeah. And the council believes that the number of problematic stops, as in stop and frisks or just any kind of stops, are going back up, and that they're being underreported. The mayor has positioned this as this is going to create unnecessary bureaucratic work, paperwork. The council also thinks that, you know, this battle over this is something that the mayor is kind of using to distract from some of the other issues in the city.
That he might be confronting, whether it be some investigations.
Right, and so that's the other thing, right? The
policies.
FBI investigations. This is a mayor who had his phone seized on the street near Washington Square Park not that long ago. He's really trying to turn the page, talk about housing, jobs, other working class issues, and things that real New Yorkers connect with.
We'll look forward to your coverage. We'll look forward to seeing you again on the debrief. Thank you, Melissa Russo,
here,
our government affairs reporter. And that's all the time we have for today. Coming up next, NBC's Meet the Press with Kristen Welker. We thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.